Yet the C-17 was able to take it. We turn now to another component of the RAF airlift fleet of prize North aircraft, but we're now going to see a really impressive full demonstration of the handling qualities and the tactical qualities of this 4-turboprop airlifter. Very rather like the C-17 in both tactical and strategic environment. This one comes to us from Luftwaffe Air Transport Wing 62 of the Luftwaffe, stationed at Bristol, and what we know as the Atlas C1, but in this case we refer to the A400M. And it's going to be getting airborne practically very shortly. A maximum performance takeoff, a tactical departure with a turn away from you, approximately with aircraft is airborne under 1,000 meters.
Described by the German Air Force there as a maximum effort takeoff. Aircraft was airborne in about 4,000 feet, accelerating about another 30 knots beyond the usual rotate speed in order to facilitate that high departure. A tactical demonstration nevertheless. This is something that is conducted on ops when in contested areas, so it minimises the amount of time the aircraft is at risk from ground fire. The A400M has replaced all sorts of platforms across all sorts of services. Of course, in the RIAT, taken over from the Luftwaffe, was the handling of the 60 passengers of London. The first German airlines handed over was the April 2014, which was to retire the Transar by the end of 2021. And the Luftwaffe's airlift capabilities are now being augmented beyond the fleet of A400Ms by National Air Transport Squadron of C-130J Hercules, operating in conjunction with the French Air and Space Force from Fairford in France, and one of those is on static display at the Air Tattoo for the first time this weekend. Undercarriage is down now, 14 wheels and tyres designed to operate from unprepared surfaces at high rates. The A400M is an incredibly capable aircraft. It has the ability to carry a 30-ton payload over 2,500 nautical miles to both established, remote civilian and military airfields, and is better said by landing on short and unprepared or semi-prepared strips. The aircraft is capable also of operating at high level at altitudes of 40,000 feet, which fully underpins its enormous range. The A400M can carry 116 passengers, or 9 aircraft pallets and 54 passengers, or 66 stretchers, with a maximum payload of 37 tons. It's also a very manoeuvrable aircraft, which it has to be to operate in the sort of contested environments Mark mentioned earlier, where small arms fire could be a threat. The A400M has a maximum back angle of 120 degrees, which we've seen demonstrated here by Airbus pilots in the past. We won't see anything quite like that from this Luftwaffe aircraft, but still very impressive.
Simulating a visual check of a simulated air drop zone.
other tasks apart from transport and air dropping. For example, Germany was the first user of this aircraft to declare it operational as an air-to-air refueling tanker. And it began using that capability to support Luftwaffe sorties against Daesh facing out of Jordan. More recently, these aircraft have been refueling multinational assets on patrols relating to the enhanced air policing missions NATO's been mounting since the start of the Ukraine conflict.
It can carry much heavier loads than the C-130, and like both other types, use rough landing strips. In addition to its transport capability, it can perform air-to-air refueling, as Ben said, but we are also trying to modulate it now for medical evacuation when fitted if ready. It's just recently that's been in addition to the RIAT list service.
And some other customers may not going to be using this, but they've been looking at this aircraft and evaluating it as an aerial firefighter, roll-off equipment, able to drop 20 tons of water in less than 10 seconds, been tested in Spain and France. And looking ahead, Airbus sees other roles as airborne communications hub, distributing information well ground systems, even the drone mothership, or a standoff jammer. Now, the aircraft is paratroopers are able to leap from the A400M using either parachute doors on either side of the aircraft or off the rear ramp. And I seem to remember that at the RAF Cosford Air Show last year, one of the RAF Atlas fleet dropped the RAF Falcons team in public for the first time.
Absolutely correct, yes.
So reconfiguring now. And this is where we're going to see a little bit more of that maneuverability in evidence.
As Ben said earlier, quite an important thing tactically for an aircraft of this size to be manoeuvrable, not just against ground-to-air fire, but also the air-to-air threat. Figured to have max takeoff and go around performance of the engines. Reversing through the 45, back down to the A-axis. Continuing to accelerate with a flaps up. The aircraft preparing to go from about 300 feet to 2,000 feet in approximately 6 seconds.